Suzuki SX4 has a simple, understandable fate of an urban crossover, and if you do not use it as a tractor, there will be no problems. The compact Suzuki SX4 crossover, the brainchild of joint creativity, engineering from Suzuki and design from Fiat, was presented at the Geneva Motor Show in 2006 and immediately went into mass production. Cars assembled at a plant in Hungary are now being delivered to Russia, which has a positive effect on the price of a car, and, oddly enough, on the price of spare parts. The range of engine modifications presented in Russia was limited, alas, to a gasoline 1.6-liter inline four-cylinder unit with a capacity of 112 horsepower, with corresponding to the Euro 4 Eco standard. For the all-wheel drive version, the manufacturer declares acceleration to hundreds in 13 seconds and a top speed of 170 km/h with an average fuel consumption of 9.9 liters per 100 in the urban cycle and 6.5 liters on the highway. The engine proved to be reliable, moderately dynamic, and economical. With a run of 15 to 20,000 kilometers in urban traffic jams, the only noticeable expense is the replacement of candles, which is necessary to correct uneven idling. A set of candles will cost 900 rubles, work to replace them, within 1,000 rubles. Sometimes it is offered to service stations to put iridium candles, 5,500 rubles, with an extended service life, but in practice, due to the poor quality of gasoline, they have to be changed almost as often as ordinary candles, at best, every 20 to 25,000 kilometers. The number of cars of this brand with a mileage of more than 100,000 kilometers is statistically insignificant, but it should be noted that when passing 100,000 maintenance, the craftsmen recommend replacing the fuel pump due to partial clogging of the protective mesh in order to prevent a decrease in pressure in the fuel system and, as a result, interruptions in operation engine. The cost of the pump is about 14,000 rubles, and work, 2,500 rubles. Nevertheless, independent appeals of owners to service stations with this problem are extremely rare. The conflict of modern standards with the dishonesty of domestic oil refiners and carriers creates an additional expense item. In SX4, the catalytic system can be called a weak point. After 60,000 km of run, the replacement of the catalyst and the lambda probe was noted. The cost of a catalyst is 27,000 rubles, a lambda probe, from 4,500 rubles. The main reason for such costs is the notorious low-quality fuel. For the all-wheel drive version, both a 5-speed manual and a 4-speed automatic are available. There are no complaints about the work of the latter, which cannot be said about the mechanical transmission. The clutch arrives after 5 to 7,000 kilometers. In fairness, it should be noted that this only happens to owners who regularly operate the SX4 off-road, which this car, of course, is not ready for. The cost of the clutch kit is 15,000 rubles, plus about 10,000 rubles, for work, including the removal of the gimbal. The all-wheel drive system on the SX4 4WD is controlled by an electronically controlled multiplate clutch. The transmission has 3 modes of operation, and they are controlled by a button on the instrument panel: front-wheel drive, 2WD, automatically connected all-wheel drive, 4WD auto, and forced all-wheel drive, 4WD lock. The clutch works flawlessly. The front suspension of the SX4 is an independent McPherson type. The rear is a torsion bar semi-independent. Handling is good, ride is also somewhat present, but rear passengers feel rather uncomfortable on rough roads. The suspension has proven to be reliable. The most common alarming symptom is the knock of the stabilizer bushings, which appears after 20 to 30,000 kilometers, and even then it is detected during routine suspension diagnostics by service station masters. The price of resolving the issue is within 4,000 rubles. On early models, there were isolated cases of shock strut leakage, but as a result of the warranty campaign, the problems were resolved. Also, under the warranty campaign, the tapping steering rack was replaced on cars manufactured in 2006 and 2007. Front brake pads serve no more than 15,000 kilometers, front brake discs, about 30 to 40,000 kilometers. Outwardly, the SX4 is recognizable. Neat dimensions and compactness give hope for minimizing parking problems and increased cross-country ability. Optics, seeing, gives some originality and expressiveness. Plastic glass headlights are quite resistant to temperature extremes and do not crack, but with careless washing they are easily scratched. The interior is quite spacious, but only for the driver and front passenger. Even a child in a child's seat will not feel comfortable behind a tall pilot. What to do? You have to pay for compactness. The same applies to the modest dimensions of the trunk, however. It also has a plus, a small loading height. The peculiarity of the windshield structure, the presence of a front side window and a wide windshield frame are an amateur story. The extra space under the windshield allows you to put all sorts of necessities, but the features of the view will take some getting used to. The interior is not rich in finishes. Plastic is cheap, easily scratched, but neat, nothing rattles or falls off. The fabric of the seats is resistant to wiping and tearing. In the basic configuration, a good set of equipment is offered. Decent music with a changer and good acoustics, airbags, a multifunction steering wheel, heated mirrors. Everything is quite reliable, but there is a drop of tar here. In winter, in the process of cleaning from the ice crust, it is easy to damage the small outer plastic lining under the wipers, the cost of which from the Japanese manufacturer is about 5,000 rubles a piece. Often, other plastic suffers, lining on the bumper and wheel arches. In general, we can say that the subcompact crossover from Suzuki is reliable, well-controlled and even demonstrates good dynamics at low speeds. As for cross-country ability, despite the possibility of forced inclusion of all-wheel drive, it is better not to abuse the off-road capabilities of the Suzuki SX4. The manufacturer itself deciphers the model name as Season X4, that is, it positions the crossover as an all-weather car, and not as an alternative to the UAZ.